mother dog was particularly strange tonight. The puppies were clearly working hard, but she barked loudly and drove them into the kennel. After making sure the puppies were safe, she quickly went to the window and barked furiously toward the house, as if reminding the owner that there was some danger. At first, the grandparents in the house didn't care, until Grandpa was horrified to find that the water glass on the table was shaking violently. The dog's barking became more and more urgent. In less than a second, everything changed. He was thrown off balance, the window suddenly shattered, and the whole room began to spin. It was too late to run. As the heavy cabinet came crashing down, Grandpa Chan only had time to protect his granddaughter. After a few waves of aftershocks, the place was completely in ruins. The dog was in a panic when she saw this and began frantically digging through the rubble to rescue her owner. From night until day, blood had already stained her paws red. Seeing this, the puppies joined in one by one. But even so, they couldn't reach their trapped owner. Just then, the mother dog suddenly smelled something special. She seemed to see hope and began running in the direction of the scent. Sure enough, there were two search and rescue personnel not far away. The dog couldn't speak, so she kept barking at them, but the search and rescue workers didn't understand her and tried to drive the naughty dog away. This made the dog even more anxious. Desperately, she bit one of the rescuers' clothes. That made them notice something unusual. Her determined eyes seemed to tell them everything. The rescuers finally understood and followed the dog. She immediately ran in the direction of her trapped owner, with the two rescue workers following close behind. They soon found the trapped grandfather and his granddaughter, Sun Liang. With the rescuers' help, both of them were successfully saved. A rescue helicopter soon arrived, but the airflow below was too unstable, so the helicopter had to hover and drop down a rescue rope. They sent the injured grandfather up first, followed by the granddaughter. But then the sister realized something was wrong. If she went up, what would happen to the dogs? She begged the rescue team to take the dogs too. Seeing the poor animals, the rescue workers hesitated. However, there were urgent calls from the helicopter. Grandpa was bleeding heavily. They had to leave immediately, or his life would be in danger. This meant they had to leave the dog behind. The sister was lifted into the helicopter with a heartbreaking scream. Seeing her owner leave, the helpless mother dog could only chase desperately after the helicopter, even with her puppies following behind. Watching this painful scene, no matter how much the sister cried, the rescue workers could not stop. Grandpa turned his head away guiltily. The dog chased for a long time until the helicopter disappeared from view. She didn't want to believe her owners had abandoned her. She comforted her puppies, saying the owners would soon come back to get them. But days passed, and there was still no sign of their owner. The mother dog eventually took her children to places where they used to play, hoping to find their owners. But after a long search with no results, she realized they couldn't keep going like this. The puppies were starving, their ribs showing, and they needed food. Even garbage bags were torn apart and licked clean. But still, there was nothing. The mother dog went back to the ruins to try her luck, and luckily found a refrigerator. She struggled hard to squeeze inside, but soon found she couldn't get out. After much effort, she managed to escape with just one sausage, not even enough to fill the puppy's stomachs. She had to find another way. In the distance, she saw a few pigeons and her eyes lit up. She crept forward to catch them, but after 3 days without food, she was too weak to succeed. Before she could feel sad, she suddenly heard her puppies crying. Some crows were attacking them. The mother dog rushed forward immediately, ignoring her wounds as the crows pecked at her face and body. She gritted her teeth and fought bravely until she finally drove the crows away. That night, it rained heavily. They hid under the ruins, waiting and hoping their owners would return soon. Meanwhile, the rescued sister had been sad and silent ever since being separated from her dog. One day, while flipping through a newspaper, her eyes caught a familiar picture. It was her dog. It turned out Mary had been waiting for her at home all this time. Then came bad news on the TV. A heavy rainstorm was coming, and the village would likely be flooded. The sister was filled with worry. If no one saved the dog, they would surely die. She and her brother immediately planned to sneak back to rescue Mary, not knowing what dangers awaited them. When they reached the road to their village, they found it blocked by earthquake debris. Nearby, workers were repairing it. To avoid alerting the adults, the siblings decided to take a mountain shortcut. They hurried on, not knowing that Mary and her puppies were also on their way to find them. While the puppies were drinking water to regain strength, another tremor suddenly struck. Thankfully, the mother dog reacted quickly, keeping them safe. But greater danger came next. As they crossed a small bridge, the ground began shaking violently again. The bridge collapsed, and they all fell into the water. Luckily, the river wasn't deep. The mother dog dragged each puppy to the shore, making sure they were safe. But she was too weak to continue. Starving for a week, her body had reached its limit. She wanted to see her owner just once more, but her strength was gone. She slowly closed her eyes. Meanwhile, the siblings were walking through the mountains when heavy rain began to pour. The muddy mountain path became slippery. The sister nearly fell off a slope, but her brother caught her in time. They were exhausted, cold, and scared. But the thought of saving Mary kept them going. Suddenly, rocks started falling down the mountainside. At the same time, their father discovered they were missing. He ran to the village entrance, saw the trail, and instantly understood. He climbed up the mountain in the heavy rain, walking for hours before finally finding the children. The little sister had a high fever and was unconscious. The father didn't scold them. He just carried them down the mountain. But the brother refused to give up. He promised to bring Mary back and wanted to return alone. The father was furious and slapped him, insisting that family lives mattered more than anything. Dragging their tired bodies, the three finally returned to the shelter. The situation worsened by the hour, and Mary's chances of survival grew slimmer. Grandpa, injured and depressed, couldn't stop crying. Later, Mary, weakened yet still caring for her children, searched in the woods for days and finally found a straight tree branch, which she brought back as a crutch for Grandpa. Such a loyal and kind dog, yet now she was suffering like this. Everyone's hearts ached as the storm intensified. Mary led her puppies to find better shelter. When crossing a hanging bridge, it suddenly collapsed and they fell again into the river. Mary, though exhausted, managed to save her puppies and get them to shore. But this time she lay still on the ground, barely breathing, and slowly closed her eyes. A few days later, the rescue team brought news. Each family could send one representative back to the village to recover valuable belongings. Seeing the children's pitiful faces, a kind neighbor gave up his spot and let the three of them go together. When they finally reached the village, it was completely flooded. No living creatures could be seen. Their hearts sank. The sister immediately ran to the ruins and searched desperately. There was no sign of Mary. Then she suddenly remembered the place where they first met and ran toward the grass. She called Mary's name again and again. Then a few puppies came running out happily. They were Mary's children. The family hugged the puppies tightly and looked around, but Mary was nowhere to be found. Just as they were losing hope, the father spotted a figure in the distance. It was Mary, dragging her frail body, slowly walking toward them, while the sister ran over and embraced her tightly, tears streaming down her face. Nobody knew what Mary had gone through all those days, but the disaster had finally passed. From that day on, Mary and her family could live happily again.